Hey, it's Ryan with S&B Filters, and today we're going to be installing our new map sensor spacer for the 11 and 19 Powerstrokes. This is going to be part number 82-1004. Let's get started. So we're going to get the box open here. When you open the box, you're going to initially see the map sensor spacer itself, nice black anodized billet aluminum piece with the S&B logo engraved on the back side of it. You're also going to get an O-ring. You're going to get a screw to hold down the spacer, and then it's very important on the bottom of all the foam, you're going to have a little pipette of blue Loctite. All the tools you're going to need to do this install are a 9/32 or 6.5 millimeter short stubby wrench, as well as an 8 millimeter. And the shorter the wrench, the better. You'll see why it's kind of limited space back there. Here's the stock map sensor on these Ford Powerstrokes. Right underneath the cowl on the 17 and 19 trucks. On the 11 to 16s, it's a little further forwards. The install is the same, it's just a little easier to get to. First step here, we're gonna go ahead and just unplug the connector from the map sensor spacer. Now we're gonna use a 9/32 or 6.5 millimeter wrench and remove the stock bolt from the stock map sensor spacer. And like I said, on these 17 plus trucks, it is a little more difficult to get on this bolt. So you're gonna wanna use a stubby wrench and kind of just snake your fingers back behind there. And then once you get it broken loose, it should come right out. There we go, it just broke loose. I got it broken loose. Now I'm just gonna use my index fingers and try to back it out by hand, just to avoid having to use the wrench underneath the cowl. On the 11 to 16 trucks, you can actually get on this with just a socket and a ratchet. So none of this is as difficult, but it should come out pretty quickly. And once you have it all the way unthreaded, just be careful not to drop this bolt in your engine bay. With the bolt removed, I can go ahead and wiggle and pull up on my map sensor spacer, and it'll pop right out. And I've recently cleaned this one, but here you just want to make sure that the O-ring's in good shape. We do reuse this O-ring with the S&B kit. So I'll give it a quick once over. Looks good to me. And the sensor's not very dirty as I just cleaned this one. Go ahead and prep the spacer for install. I'm gonna use the supplied O-ring from the S&B kit. Just roll this right onto place. Now we're ready to go ahead and install the spacer into the intake manifold. To get the spacer installed all the way down on the manifold, I like to just put a fair amount of pressure on the top and then rotate back and forth a little bit. And there's some fins on the right side of the manifold here that are part of the manifold, and I like to just line it up straight with those two fins. Just keep the spacing constant between the two of them. And what that's gonna do is get that bolt hole lined up for you. Now we're gonna go ahead and get the map sensor installed into the spacer. We're gonna get the bolt installed through the map sensor and the spacer now. So we provide a little pipette of Loctite here. I'm just gonna use a little bit on the bottom of these threads. And with the Loctite applied, you can go ahead and just cap this tube and keep it around for any other projects you might have going on. And I'll pry up a little bit on one hand, and being very careful not to drop the bolt or get the Loctite on yourself. Twist it up underneath that relief and it'll drop right into place. And then it should get started by hand. And if it doesn't, you know you need to rotate the spacer a little bit side to side until that bolt just drops in. You'll feel it catch, like right there. I think it just, yeah, there it goes. And then I like to get them threaded in all the way by hand, just to minimize the amount of times I have to turn a wrench back there, since there's very limited access. Okay, with the bolt hand tight, now it's time to take our 8 millimeter wrench and pass it in from the back here, and just get, with that Loctite on there, it doesn't need to be super tight. I like to just snug it up with the wrench and make sure that the spacer and the map sensor are seated all the way down. So I'll get that tightened down right now. And again, the shorter the wrench you have on these 17 plus trucks, the better, because it is a little tight back here. We've gotten the bolt torqued down. We're gonna go ahead and get the sensor plugged back in, and it's just gonna snap right in the same way it came out. And once you hear that click, it's good to go. Thanks for following along with this map sensor spacer install. This is just going to keep more carbon and soot out of your map sensor spacer, letting your truck run better for longer. If you have any questions, please feel free to call us or email us at any time.